Hello there, YouTube. It is your boy B3, back with another kicking, you guessed it, friends, graphic novel review. And today, we're looking at one of my favorites. That's right, folks. It is Green Lantern by Geoff Johns, Book 4. Yes, oh God. You all know that I am a huge fan of Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. I've talked about it at length in the other reviews of these omnibuses, so I'm not going to go super into it, but it's one of the most influential comic runs on me, personally, and it's my favorite comic run of all time, so I'm glad to be reviewing these omnibuses. I've already reviewed most of the single volumes, I think, so you can check those out as well. But let me read you the back of the book. Unleash the rage. In the aftermath of the Sinestro Corps War, a new power emerges from within the Green Lantern Corps. They are the Alpha Lanterns, and the only thing more menacing than their biomechanical makeovers are their merciless tactics. But an even deadlier threat faces Hal Jordan and John Stewart. The Green Lanterns of Earth, the Red Lanterns, fueled by pure hatred and anger, are preparing to unleash their unstoppable rage on the defeated Sinestro, once the greatest Green Lantern of them all. Who will survive the coming of Atrocitus and his Crimson Corps? And will they be ready for the coming apocalypse that is the Blackest Night? New York Times bestselling writer Geoff Johns reaches a stunning new stage in his landmark Green Lantern saga with this epic collection of cosmic combat, featuring art by Ivan Reyes from Justice League and Aquaman, Mike McKone, from Green Lantern Corps and Justice League United, Shane Davis from Superman, Batman, and Superman Earth 1, and DeClaire Albert from Blackest Night with Sandra Hope from Flashpoint, and many more. Green Lantern by Geoff Johns, Book 4, collect Green Lantern number... It's really small, actually. Let me see. 26 through 38, and Final Crisis, Rage of the Red Lanterns, number 1. So cool. Alright, so, Green Lantern by Geoff Johns, Book 4. What are we gonna do here, huh? Let's check it out. So, we see the creation of the Alpha Lanterns, which are pretty much a fusion of Green Lanterns and, or like living Green Lanterns and Manhunters. It's what the Guardians see as the best of Green Lanterns combined with the best of Manhunters. You know, Manhunters, the ones that destroyed an entire sector and have been... trying to commit genocide for thousands of years. Yeah, those Manhunters. Those are the ones who I think the Green Lantern Corps needs to be more like. Also, I do have to say, one of the most brilliant things Geoff Johns did was really make the Guardians of the Universe villains. Like, they removed their own emotions, and it just made them so cold and calculating that they became the villains of the universe, in a way, is incredible. It really was a stroke of absolute fucking genius. We also see Sinestro in the Science Cells. And, you know, the Guardians enacted a new law that said deadly force can be used against the Sinestro Corps. So they're going to execute Sinestro, which is pretty wild. Pretty wild indeed. But the Guardians also activate another new law, saying that deadly force can be used against all enemies of the Green Lantern Corps, as long as they're, like, you know, actively shooting at you or something like that. You can't just walk up to someone and be like, hey, you're an enemy of the Corps, and blow their brains out. And that's made pretty clear in this book, because Lyra, one of my favorite Lost Lanterns, executes Amon Sur after he's already surrendered. And she's charged with murder in the Green Lantern Corps, and she's suspended, and they've decided to send her back to her homeworld. They kind of do have mercy on her, actually. They decide to send her back to her homeworld, and they're like, if a Green Lantern ring finds its way to you again, you can have a second chance. Which I think is really forgiving, in a way, to be completely honest. Really, really forgiving, because not only did she murder him, but later incinerated his body, because his species has pretty good regeneration abilities. Like, if you blow their heads off, they can grow them back. That being said, there is an organ in their torso where if you destroy it, they'll die. That happened with Abenser and Amonser. So they're not like Zarnians. They're not like Lobo. It's just their head isn't where their primary, neurological organ is. So they're taking her back home, and something happens. A red lantern ring attaches itself to her. And that is a pretty big deal. She becomes the red lantern of her sector. And then we also see the controllers looking for the orange light so they can make a corps of orange lanterns. Which, trust me, will not work out for them, but we won't see that really in this volume. Currently, this is the last of this specific type of omnibus collection, this specific run of omnibuses for Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. So I guess I need to wait for the other one to come out. I mean, I have all the single volumes, so it's not like there's anything I haven't read from Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. But if you're getting this omnibus series, it hasn't released them all, which I find a little odd, to be completely honest. But then we go into Hal Jordan's origin story, Green Lantern's Secret Origin by Geoff Johns, Ivan Reyes, etc. One of my favorite graphic novels of all time. I got it at a Scholastic warehouse sale once, and I've loved it ever since. This is my digital copy, this omnibus, and then my physical copy is the single volume, and I've read it so many times that it's worn out. You look at it and you're like, wow, that is a well-read copy. I have read it so many times. This is truly a great story with magnificent art. One of my favorite superhero origin comics of all time, Green Lantern Secret Origin. I usually recommend it to people to read before the rest of the Geoff Johns run. But this is the spot where you're kind of supposed to read it because Atrocitus is the main villain of it. See, the reason Abenser was in a ship, even though his ring lets him fly through space unaided, is because he was losing faith in his ring, feeling fear because Atrocitus tricked him and was telling him about these prophecies about his ring failing him. But in reality, he would fail his ring by feeling fear, which would let Atrocitus escape his constructs, murder him, and crash on Earth. So this book is Hal Jordan becoming a Green Lantern, but also coming to terms with his own anger and whatnot about Carl Ferris. Carol Ferris's dad, he kind of blames him for his dad's death, but it turns out that was not the case. They were actually the best of friends. It's actually a really big twist kind of at the end. But we see him bond with Carol and him bond with Sinestro, and they fight Atrocitus, but it also kind of serves as an origin for Black Hand, which is very interesting. It shows how he got his device that let him absorb and redirect energy. And it shows his freakish kind of necrophilic obsession with death. It's a magnificent book. And thematically, it really connects to Rage of the Red Lanterns really well, which is why a lot of people don't read it first. Because if you read it right before the Red Lantern story really gets going, then then you kind of then it really connects well, because Atrocitus is the villain in it before he's a Red Lantern, and how Jordan is dealing with his rage, and you can see his connection with Sinestro right before you see him have to take Sinestro for an execution and face Atrocitus as a Red Lantern and face his rage all over again. Here, Hal's rage is at Carl Ferris, and then in Rage of the Red Lanterns, that rage is directed towards Sinestro, mainly. Also, we get an origin for Hector Hammond in this. But, yeah, I mean, chronologically, this is the first story of the Geoff Johns Green Lantern run. Publishing-wise, it pops up during the Red Lantern stuff. Right after Laria gets her ring. But it's a really, really excellent story that should not be skipped. Don't skip it so that you can finish Red Lanterns. It really is a must-read before you really get into the actual Red Lantern story. as long as you read it at some point before Rage of the Red Lanterns. It doesn't have to be right before. You don't have to read it at the beginning of the run. But I do highly, highly recommend reading it. I've lent it out to all my friends. It's a really, really good book with a lot of magnificent revelations that connects thematically well to Rage of the Red Lanterns. Then we get back to Rage of the Red Lanterns, where we see Atrocitus make his ring and his Corps. Most of his members have been wronged by members of the Sinestro Corps. We see Scar, the Guardian, kind of manipulating things behind the scene because she's been infected with the black, and she actually wants the Blackest Night to happen, which is kind of wild. But they're taking Sinestro to be executed, and the Sinestro Corps shows up to rescue him, but then the Red Lanterns show up to take him. And then when the Red Lanterns are gone, the Blue Lanterns show up and save the Green Lanterns. So now we have Blue Lanterns, which it turns out were created by Ganthet and Syed to aid the Green Lanterns. And they want Hal Jordan to be their leader. And it's not revealed in this volume, but when Ganthet said Hal Jordan would lead them, he meant as a Green Lantern, not as a Blue Lantern. Because Blue Lanterns can't use the majority of their power unless a Green Lantern is nearby. Because hope isn't really much without willpower to make something of it. Like, I hope for a better future, but without the will to take the steps to make that better future, the hope doesn't really do much but make you feel better. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. The Blue Lanterns are freakishly powerful when a Green Lantern is around, and they're constantly charging Green Lantern rings just by being in their presence. So Green Lanterns have these supercharged rings whenever they're around Blue Lanterns, to the point where they even have to let some energy out sometimes just so the ring doesn't explode. We see Fatality turned into a Star Sapphire, now a Violet Lantern. We see Sinestro being tortured by Atrocitus on the Red Lantern homeworld, while also revealing a prophecy about Sinestro's daughter. It's pretty easy to guess who Sinestro's daughter is going to turn out to be if you've read this and been reading this, especially if you've been reading Green Lantern Corps. You know who it's who it's going to turn out to be. It's pretty obvious. But yeah, we see Sinestro, once he gets his yellow ring back, kill Red Lantern Laria, which sends Hal Jordan into a huge rage, and he makes an electric chair construct for Sinestro to kill him, but then a Red Lantern ring attaches to him, making him Hal Jordan, Red Lantern. Hal Jordan's been most lanterns. He's been a lot of different ones. He's been black, white, red, half blue, sort of green. He's been orange. He's been yellow. He's been a lot of colors. Not at this point in the comic, but down the line. He's been most of them. I'm not sure if he's been indigo. He hasn't been violet. I think he's been all the others. Yeah, anyway. We see Carol kind of yearning after him while he's away. And Cowgirl misses him too, because he's dating Cowgirl, but we all know that Ferris is still the one for him. But Hal Jordan, unlike other Red Lanterns, is able to make constructs because he still has his green ring on, and it kind of focuses the red rage a little so that he can make constructs. But then Saint Walker gives him a blue ring, and the blue rings are able to purify Red Lanterns, because a Red Lantern's ring replaces their heart. Their heart stops beating, and their ring circulates blood for them. But not only that, it replaces all their blood with new, like, Red Lantern napalm blood. So if you remove a Red Lantern ring from somebody, not only is their heart stopped, not only have they entered cardiac arrest, but they're also full of napalm. And I think there have been books where someone's been a Red Lantern and that someone's made their heart start beating again, but I don't know if there have been books that, but like even if you do that, there's still the blood. That's still an issue, right? But the blue gets rid of the red, but then Hal Jordan is like this hybrid blue-green lantern, which the only figure of is like an exclusive in a 4-pack that's really expensive now, and that makes me sad because I'd really like it. I really, really would. We also see Carol Ferris become a Star Sapphire again, but this time she is able to control it and reason, and she's not being possessed. So, that is it for Green Lantern by Geoff Johns, Book 4. The next big story, I think, is Agent Orange. It's the Orange Lantern story with Larfleeze and everything in the Forbidden Sector. And then it should be all the Blackest Night, Brightest Day, like War of the Green Lanterns with Krona and stuff. And then into the New 52 stuff with Volthoom and whatnot. And then that is the end of the Geoff Johns run. I cannot wait for the next omnibuses to be released, even though I have the single volumes for everything. Most of which I have reviewed as singles. I think there are some where I haven't. Maybe like 2. There's the Green Lantern Corps Recharged series, which I haven't reviewed by itself. And there's like one more volume, like one of the early volumes I haven't reviewed, I think. I just kind of review what I feel like. It's not always in order. I'm reviewing the omnibuses in order, but I don't always review everything in order. Sometimes it's just whatever I feel like rereading is the most convenient thing to review sometimes. Sorry. But that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now. Yeah.